G'day and welcome back. I have been kissed on the cheek by the woodworking fairy, which is a little bit of a concern for me because I'm just wondering when something colossal is going to stuff up. The universal law of ultimate thingery. Have to watch my language. Since the last time, I've glued up both the long rails with the spreaders inside. They're all glued up and ready to go. I have also cut the stiles with some 3/4 banana, or actually they're 19mm holes in there, which will be used for storing things like bench hold downs, bench dogs and the like. Now what I will need to do is mark out the top and bottom rails or frames, for want of a better word, and domino them and glue them together. The work that I've done, there's a chunk of glue that I want to get off. The work that I've done was pretty repetitive. It involved just cutting domino, marking out, measuring, cutting mortises with the domino machine, inserting dominoes, gluing the whole thing up, cleaning up the squeeze out, and rinse and repeat a number of times. So the bench is now at this state. I'll give you a closer look now, and I will continue marking out, gluing and getting prepared. Here we go. All right, here's a closer look of the bench. You saw me glue up the end frames, or the parts for the ends of the frame, and what I spent the last few days doing is gluing up these spreaders. I've got the thing very level, which is great. Excuse my bumping. I've glued up these frames, and now I have to cut the domino holes and insert dominoes for these stiles, and I have to cut and insert dominoes for the end frames. Once that's done, I have to cut a rebate into the bottom of the long rails to accept some 19mm ply. I'm in Australia, so it is a rebate, not a rabbet. Rabbits are things you eat in Australia. Okay, so I'm going to carry on with this. Cue the time lapse. Okay, just clamped up the bench, or the bench frame. So there it is in all its clamped up glory. I was really pleased with the way it came out. Yeah, really pleased. I think that will solve the issue of strength. I reckon this is brick outhouse strong. So, a couple more jobs to do on it, and then we've done that. So the jobs I need to do is I need to cut a rebate in here to suit a piece of 18mm plywood, and sand him down and give him a wax finish. This workbench frame has been come out of their clamps. He looks a bit rough and ready at the moment because I haven't sorted out the glue squeeze out. And now it's time for me to finish cutting a rebate into the bottom of the bench. The frame is upside down at the moment. Cutting that rebate, fitting a piece of plywood there, drilling some holes to accept the adjustable feet I'm going to put on the bottom of, and then sanding, cleaning, and finally a wax coating or a wax finish. Alrighty, I have cut the rebate for the plywood. A bit of a weird thing has happened here. My router bit, or me, seem to have cut a little bit deep there, which is no, not too major issue, but still, it's I would have preferred it not to happen. It doesn't really require a powerful utterance, so I'm just going to leave it. This piece will be covered with a piece of plywood and will be upside down, so anybody who sees it will probably be seeing it in like 30 years, 40 years or so. So, you know, if they hold that against me, well, I'll be a senile, doddering old fool by then. And I thought, well, I haven't really done very much work on my with hand tools, which you know, I kind of like working with hand tools, so I thought I will square off these rebates, and that way this piece of plywood will fit in there and it'll look neat and tidy. I also drilled the holes for the feet. So now all this, this workbench frame needs is a lick of finish, or well, a rub of wax finish, and the piece of plywood, and cleaning up all the glue squeeze out. So that's my next job, and meanwhile I will continue laminating up my bench top. Okay, you've seen me build the frame. Let's talk about why I built it the way I built it. What I've got is basically I have got four square sections like this. Now, the reason why I put the stiles and the spreaders in is to stop this kind of thing happening, which can happen because it's called racking, and it can happen in all three dimensions of the workbench frame. So we want to stop this from happening. Now, the primary way that I've stopped it from happening is with the hefty legs and the hefty floating tenons within those legs and rails. The other way is with the stile on the long end, and also the spreaders top and bottom of the workbench. And this is how I did it. What I've done is, a real quick example is this. Imagine this is the long frame of the workbench frame. We've got our legs here, here, and our rails along here. And this is the stile in between. So, what this stile will do is it will prevent it racking in this dimension. See, very, very strong, even though I haven't glued this piece of timber in. Now, I put a second stile, and we have this. Now, this is an example of the top and bottom of the frames, and this will stop it racking in another dimension. Now, the short parts of the frames, they don't really need to be supported in this direction. There's too little length to worry about it. Now, the other thing this stile does is that it will support any kind of it reduces the unsupported weight in the middle of the bench, stopping the long frames and the actual bench top from sagging down. So that's why I did it there. Now, the adjustable feet is used for three reasons. One, to fine-tune the height of the bench so it can be used as an outfeed table. The other, to avoid the power to my table saw and router table. There's basically a conduit with some power cables being run through it, and also to prevent water soaking into the timber, because, well, my garage door seals are a little bit how's your father, and I haven't got around to fixing them, and I'm not entirely sure when I will fix them. So that's why the feet are there. Now, what I'll do is I'll move the camera and I'll show you how this piece of plywood ties into everything, and how these adjustable feet work. Most importantly for this garage is the adjustable feet will prevent water from being soaked up into these rails, which is good. A couple of days ago we had a really powerful storm come through. Scared the bejesus out of my dog. My wife and I spent half the night basically lying next to her, comforting her, and yeah, the result of that was a fair bit of water getting into my garage. Now, the other issue there is that with these adjustable feet, I have made an ideal habitat for a floor monster. What a floor monster does, it takes up residence underneath things like workbenches, table saws, cabinetry, all sorts of things. You find them in you'll find them in lots of places, and they live on things like screws that will fall under there and get eaten by the floor monster, never to be seen again. Small parts, pens, pencils, drill bits, the odd washer, maybe the odd piece of timber that you're working on. And yeah, there's not a lot I can do about that. And so I just have to accept the fact that a floor monster will take up residence underneath this workbench. And I suppose I'd best name him. I'm not real crash hot with naming animals. In fact, my wife has disallowed, or prevented me or not allowed me to name any more of our pets. I don't know, I'll go into that in a bit. So, what I'll ask you to do is in the comment section below, if you could, if you've got a good idea for a name of a floor monster, feel free to put it down there and let me know. Maybe I'll choose one of your names. Okay, that's it for this video. Thanks for coming, thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye.